talk about the X-Men live-action TV series. Now, Fox is in development and apparently deep development to start creating a X-Men TV series. Now, they don't want to focus on the X-Men per se like we have in the movies. They want to focus more on the team, X Factor, that was a spin-off in the comic series of said X-Men. And now they're still in talks with Marvel. I don't know if they have a green light with them, but it seems like, Marvel would be like, okay, well, why not? Here, have a TV show. We're not going to do anything with it. It doesn't seem like so. It is kind of the rival.
Oh, because they only have the film rights, right?
Yeah, they only have the film rights.
Not to.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but I can't imagine they would go into deep development of it without some sort of inkling that they're going to get the rights to it. And maybe it'll be more tentative. Maybe, Marvel won't say, okay, you get everything and it's all yours. Maybe they'll say, okay, you can use it, but if we want to use it, we get to use it too. Because that's kind of what they're bumping into.
Maybe they'll just pull off a Mutant X where they just change the name slightly and whatever.
Be like,
it's
almost the same thing.
X-Men.
Well, and they almost could, because they're focusing on X Factor. So yeah, you're right. They could do something different now. And the X Factor run they're focusing in on is the 2005 to 2013 run, where it was kind of more of a detective agency. They're actually called X Factor Investigations, where this all happens after the House of M plotline in the Marvel universe. And if you don't know what the House of M was, that's where almost all mutants on the planet lost their powers. So. It's kind of going more to what you're seeing with TV shows. You're going to have maybe one or two powered people, but then they're going to be focusing on lesser powers. And they're also focusing on characters that aren't as big. And you've seen DC have success with this with some of their TV shows, like like Arrow, which was huge. He's a lesser character there. But they do have Simon Kinberg has hinted that he would like to be involved in said project. He's the writer of almost all the X-Men movies. Unfortunately, he also wrote X-Men 3, so that's kind of a negative on his roster there, but he wrote First Class. I believe he wrote Days of Future Past, so that's going to be interesting. And he really wants to focus on Multiple Man and Strong Guy and Wolfsbane as the main team going around investigating these mutant-related cases. Seeing...
This is going to be this is going to be Marvel's first foray into live action TV. I mean,
they had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. They already did that, and this is going to be Fox doing it. So,
yeah.
Okay. The X-Men's a good one to go in with, and I guess they kind of have to do X Factor because for the budget of a TV show, I know they have some big budgets, but it'd be kind of hard to swing getting all the characters in and doing all the characters justice if they had the full X-Men cast going on.
And I think they also want to do X Factor at this point because then they don't have to put all the money into the superpowers, because these are going to be guys after most of the mutants have been depowered, and you can kind of investigate, okay, there's a mutant popping up here or there, and they're kind of working for the government or something. So it's going to be interesting. It kind of reminds me of the Powers TV show that's going to be on the Sony PlayStation Network, where it's depowered people going after powered people. And that's kind of what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done. It's, people without powers going after powered people. So
that they can save money on those special effects right there.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not too much of a ploy just for that. But it is going to be interesting. But, what are some of the characters that you'd love to see? Villains or just main characters that you'd love to see in this TV show?
I definitely did not expect to hear the Multiple Man, or I didn't expect to see the roster of people that are going to be the main characters. Definitely, I was hoping more for. I don't even know. It's hard for me to disconnect from the current Marvel universe established by the movies and go back and pick out new characters for X Factor. And I think that might be some of the reason why they picked X Factor, so the writers can sort of avoid certain headaches that will inevitably come from, is it the same universe or is this a different universe or whatever,
And that's always...
Yeah.
No, you're totally right, because that's always a problem, especially like the Arrow guys. They pretty much came out and said this is going totally separate from what they're doing with the DC DC cinematic universe. They're just like, okay, this is separate. That's also kind of why I think they got, like, Arrow was one of the first ones to start. Now Flash is one of the huge ones, so that was kind of an interesting show. But then they're going with Supergirl. There's been rumors about the Atom getting his own TV show there. So I think you're right. They're picking guys that maybe not everybody knows, to kind of bring them more into the mainstream.
And so they can have a certain distance away from all the main plot lines everyone's very much used to. But one question: Do you think the new X-Men TV series about X Factor will be the Marvel equivalent of Flash and Green Arrow and Smallville and those things, or will it be the Marvel equivalent of Gotham? That's right now.
That is a good question. I think the feel, and that's great because I love Gotham. I think the feel will be more like Gotham, where it's almost like it's a normal guy kind of investigating, what's going to lead up to be the Batman villains.
Right.
But it kind of has that more, you're right, noir feel to it. It's a little more gritty. I mean, I love Arrow, but that's just a superhero running around being a superhero pretty much. So I think that's a good comparison to make. You're right. It'll be closer to Gotham than it will be to those other shows. And now, I haven't really jumped into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's never really quite appealed to me. But
I didn't really like it either.
Because I know that, but they go around and they're always chasing down these big, huge name villains and stuff like that, or something like that, and they're trying to tie that into the cinematic universe. I think they're going to do a better job of just creating their own standalone show. Which you're right. If you're going to take smaller characters like they would have in the X Factor series, it would be just better for them. Because I know X Factor actually started as pretty much the original X-Men cast in the comics. It was like Cyclops, Jean Grey, and all those guys, and then shifted over time. And so maybe we'll see some of our fan favorites pop in there and out. That would be cool, but it won't be tied, so they can create their own universe rather than have to follow the coattails.
Yeah, and style-wise, personally, I would like to see them take a different approach than what we've seen DC doing. They have taken a different... Marvel stuff has taken a different approach to the movies. Marvel in general versus DC Comics have very distinct styles, like the kinds of characters that show up, the kinds of stories they tell, sometimes are intermixed, but I would like to see that with the TV show. Like, we've seen what DC's been doing, and they've been doing a pretty good job with Flash and Arrow, and Smallville. Like, I used to love Smallville, and everything else that you can think of, they've done a pretty good job. I'd want to see something different, something new, something fresh to keep it going, keep me interested in why do I want this Marvel one, why do I care about these new characters. And I also would like to see Fox, because they're detached. Fox, I'm not as confident is going to take new directions, but I do want to see something other than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. Like, we don't need the going after the giant villain immediately anyway. You can build up to that. You now have time to tell a story because you have a TV show versus a movie. So you don't have to have, like, the biggest villain in the universe, episode 1, 2, 3. And that's what it seems like they have to limit themselves in X Factor, because these are not the strongest guys with all the battle. It's after a lot of powers have gone away and things like that.
Yeah, so. And I think RC hit the nail on the head, though. If they get kind of the Gotham feel going, this show's going to be a success, because I just watched. I was catching up on some of the back episodes of Gotham just yesterday, actually, and that show's getting good. So, but I don't know, guys. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. Are you excited to see an X-Men TV show? What do you want it to be about? How do you want it to feel? Hit us up. Comments down below. Of course, at What's My Face on Twitter, Google Plus, and Facebook. Always good ways of getting a hold of us.